This is Mortal Kombat. It was a massive blockbuster shift in the gaming industry and in global culture at large. From the multiple feature films and iconic characters to the idea of fatalities or even multicolored ninjas, the game has carved a path across the pop cultural hemisphere in a way that few even compare to. Which begs the question, when is the right time to reboot a classic?
They should do a reboot.
Nobody wants that.
It's time. This is Mortal Kombat 1. Not the first Mortal Kombat, and not the first time Mortal Kombat rebooted the continuity of the franchise, but the biggest and most recent narrative reset that NetherRealm has decided to make. On the surface, this seems like a crazy swing. The past few Mortal Kombat games have been extremely financially successful. Why risk ruining that? Why take a chance on alienating the hard-won fans that NetherRealm has converted into die-hard supporters since regaining control of the franchise? This idea of rebooting and resetting fictional universes has been around for a while. In Hollywood, it's something that's practically an expected status quo. From Spider-Man to the X-Men to James Bond and Star Trek, basically every franchise has rebooted multiple times at this point. You get something set up, make a few sequels, and once they stop raking in money, just relaunch the same story with different actors. Frankly, the only long-running franchise not to have a complete reboot is Star Wars. That phenomenon of rebooting and relaunching a series isn't exactly as common in gaming. Sure, you have games being remade or remastered all the time, and you have the Nintendo model of basically every franchise they own being the same game, starring the same characters, but refigured in various contexts over and over and over again. But NetherRealm's choosing to make a sequel, reboot the continuity of the franchise, and attempt to communicate that back-to-basics idea in the title? Less common. Much less common. When it comes to rebooting narratives, there are two types. Hard reboots, meaning you're telling a new story with the old characters and storyline, but you're not acknowledging anything that came before as canon. And soft reboots, which take pieces of the old continuity and remold them into something new. Hard reboot, The Amazing Spider-Man. Soft reboot, the most recent Candyman film. The gaming industry, much like Hollywood, has ebbs and flows to it. What was once new is now old, and what was once massively successful now needs attention. The manicuring and maintenance of these franchises is as much an art as it is a science. Picking the proper moment for when to reboot, remake, or relaunch a franchise can determine its longevity within the marketplace. Recently, we got the Final Fantasy Remake series. These games took the basic plot, structure, and theme of the beloved story of Cloud and Sephiroth and reimagined the story in fully reworked combat system. Are the graphics better? Of course. Is the story better? Well, that's up for interpretation. The games are equal parts remake and soft reboot. It's taking certain elements of the previously beloved story, expanding, remixing, and revamping them for modern audiences. Which brings us to the two key examples we're going to discuss today. The two most successful reboots in recent memory are id Software's Doom 2016 and NetherRealm's Mortal Kombat 1. They each fill very different niches within the marketplace and are each serving as a new intricate part of their respective franchises. Doom 2016 is essentially a continuity-free relaunch of the beloved first-person shooter. However, in an age of self-serious prestige reboots, Doom 2016 opted for the opposite. Its tone is irreverent, its approach to lore is loose at best, and its main reason for existing? Killing demons. The game was intentional about its approach to fixing some long-standing issues with the franchise. What's this guy's name? Doom Guy. Yes, that's what he was colloquially known as before 2016. After, they gave him an official title, the Doom Slayer. They built just enough continuity and narrative around him to make the game feel fun. And they also knew that no one was here to really delve into the Daniel Day-Lewis method acting reasons why the Doom Slayer kills demons with a chainsaw. It also was released in, as the colloquial name might suggest, 2016, which, if you'll remember, is when literally no one cared about Doom as a franchise. Rebooting it, having id take over, and rebuilding it like this was as ingenious as it has proven successful. There were no real stakes, though. The franchise was a mangled and damaged mess prior to Doom 2016. You had nowhere to go but up. Which leads us back to Mortal Kombat. They were in almost the exact opposite place. A trilogy of highly successful AAA games, but no more narrative real estate. NetherRealm had done the impossible, they'd resurrected Mortal Kombat, and they'd eaten up all the storylines they could possibly do, and they were now at something of an impasse. But let's look at how they got to this choke point, just briefly. Mortal Kombat debuted in 1992 to massive financial success. There's a number of sequels, and then the franchise was at something of a lull back in the mid-2000s. You had Mortal Kombat Armageddon in 2006, which featured a somewhat controversial ending and kinda threw the whole franchise into a bit of a tailspin. Then you had the non-canon Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, which was fun, but, it is what you think it is. And then finally in 2011, a soft reboot simply titled Mortal Kombat was the first game that NetherRealm, the company that Mortal Kombat co-creator Ed Boon founded, made. This game, the 9th overall, walked back the ending of Armageddon to the degree that it featured Raiden sending his past self his memories of how the world ended in order to attempt to alter the timeline. The events of this soft reboot play into Mortal Kombat 10 and Mortal Kombat 11, which act as direct sequels. These three all form one of the best fighting game trilogies of all time, but here's where things get tricky. While highly successful, those games had evolved the narratives during the story mode to a level previously unseen in the franchise. They were almost movies in their scope and gravitas, and also, because they're Mortal Kombat games, they're really weird and absurd as well. So what were they gonna do? People love these games, but they'd run out of rope. Where would they take the franchise now? NetherRealm decided to take a big swing. What if they pulled a J.J. Abrams with Star Trek 2009? What if they made a soft reboot that realigned the franchise, allowing for more storytelling room, but didn't turn everyone off? And what if they named it, confusingly, Mortal Kombat 1? This second reboot sees Liu Kang as the guardian of the universe, essentially. As the fire god, he has created a peaceful new era where Earthrealm and Outworld are not in conflict. Liu Kang has reset the timeline and has vowed to keep everyone safe. Mortal Kombat still exists, but it's not a blood field enacted once a generation to enable invasion and subjugation. Instead, it's a cultural celebration. That's where we come in. Inevitably, this is thrown into peril by our old pals Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung. Liu Kang, Raiden, and the gang have to join forces and attempt to save the universe once again, while bicycle kicking and ice sliding through their various opponents. This marks one of the most high-profile and most unique ways a major gaming franchise has ever been rebooted. And what's even more surprising is that it worked. Released in September of 2023, the game delivers all the beat-em-up action and over-the-top fatalities you could want, but also includes an inventive and engaging story. It's always a huge risk to attempt a reboot or a relaunch of a franchise that is working. When Bond was rebooted with Casino Royale, it was in the gutter. Same with Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, and the X-Men. Doom was practically dead in a ditch. NetherRealm took a big swing, and it worked, largely because they stayed true to the core of the franchise. They didn't second-guess what people were coming to Mortal Kombat for: violence. In fact, Mortal Kombat 1 is banned in Japan, Korea, and China because of the excessive levels of hyperviolence. That's the key, really. When building any reboot, remake, or relaunch, you have to not lose whatever the core of the idea is. You have to make sure that carries over and then reshapes the rest of the story to build that idea out further. Mortal Kombat has always been inventive when it comes to continuity between games. Their main rival, Street Fighter, they didn't really place any importance on characters or developments between games sticking in subsequent sequels. However, when the original Mortal Kombat game was released way back in 1992, the sequel, aptly named Mortal Kombat 2, did its best to respect the deaths from the previous games, even going so far as to introduce another Sub-Zero, the original's brother. Most reboots in the film world happen because they've run the idea into the ground. In comics, they happen because things have gotten so complicated that the creators need to establish a simpler status quo, like what Marv Wolfman and George Perez did with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Mortal Kombat did both of these things. The game simultaneously gives you a status quo that's unlike anything you've ever seen, with Liu Kang being a literal god, and also finds a fun and narratively compelling way to restore everything to a back-to-basics status quo that allows you to kick, punch, and fatality to your heart's content. Will we see more reboots in the coming years? Maybe. But honestly, it seems somewhat unlikely just based on how difficult they are to pull off from a creative standpoint, and the fact that the gaming world loves remakes. Remakes don't function like film or other mediums. Sometimes they're wild creative swings, and sometimes they're literally beat for beat the game just with better graphics and gameplay tools. That's what sets Mortal Kombat 1 apart. It's adventurous and unique in what it's attempting to do. If only the broader gaming industry was interested in swinging for the fences like this. I guess we'll have to find solace in the fact that we live in the timeline where Liu Kang got to be the fire god. even if it was only for a little while. And well, that's all we have for this episode. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this.